Hello everyone and welcome to Chat Club. I'm your host Alan Hilty. There's only one rule on Chat Club, and that is everybody talks about Chat Club. Now my voice is a little wongy and suppressed or a little sore because I've been working the border the last 2 weeks. So anyway, this episode here is going to be episode number 19, and I want to deem it more of we're not in it all together. And I have a specific theme on this podcast, and I want to talk about a lot of different things. I know Covid-19 is still out there, still predominantly out there. I just didn't want to do a weekly podcast on something negative. So I'm trying to do a little negativity and also a little bit of positivity in my podcast, this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive into this and talk about the pandemic a little bit. This pandemic has caused a lot of fear, scared of the future, panic, anxiety, nervousness, a lot of anger, more mental health challenges, complete paranoia, aggression because of the nervousness of the pandemic and where we're going, how we're going to get through this, and how we're going to survive. And our daily routine has been changed a lot in our lives, and that's in every part of the world. So this is not only a podcast for where I am, this is for the world. I see a lot of different challenges going on, like plexiglasses and keeping our grocery workers safe, and that's great. I think it's fantastic that we're taking the measures that we need to get through this. So the reason why I call this we're not in this all together is I've seen a lot of celebrities out there saying we're in it together. I have a problem with this because I'm a frontline worker and I work in corrections and I'm an essential worker and I have to work. So I don't see Justin Bieber and I don't see all these other celebrities like Drake coming to give me a 15-minute break or half an hour break. No, we're not in it together, dudes. We're not. We're not in this together. You can throw your money around to help, and that's fantastic. But you're not sitting there on the grocery lines getting your groceries. You're not participating in life in fear that you're going to get COVID-19, because a lot of people in the reality in the world have to go to the grocery store. They have to get gas. They have to get to their jobs. These people here have a lot of money, so their houses are enormous compared to our houses, where we self-isolated in our houses and we have literally nowhere to go. We have a few bedrooms and a few places, and we can go outside a little bit, but we don't have a pool or workout facility. I haven't seen the gym in 3 or 4 months since this whole thing started. So no, we're not in it together. There's a lot of people that are working on the ground floor that don't get noticed. Taxi drivers. You got janitors. We have a lot of people in behind the scenes. I'm sorry if I'm missing a few, but those are the ones that I don't see anybody talking about. The janitors, the taxis. We're talking about the grocery store people. Heroes in my mind because they're grinding it, and I understand they need to work. So it's not that they're trying to be heroes. It's something they need to do. Do they see themselves as heroes? No. Truck drivers putting themselves out there, driving, doing what they're supposed to do. I said thank you to a few truckers, and they kind of look at me a little weird, and they say, well, it's my job. It's not anything different. A little more busier, but we're still doing a job. And it's a great perspective that the truckers that I've talked to have put that in my head that, we're not doing anything different. We're just, getting things where they need to get. And I still, myself, I look at them and I say, well, still thanks for putting yourself out there. So, we have frontline workers, we have paramedics, we have nurses, doctors, corrections officers, we have police officers, firefighters, a lot of people in the special care home workers that are taking care of the elderly that are really high risk. We've seen 1% deaths. It's not high, but seeing the number is high. I don't know what we're at right now today, because I don't like looking at this because it spins off some negativity to me. I don't like sitting there looking at it, and that's why I haven't done a lot of podcasts. It's for that reason. I don't want to know. I just want to get through this as positive as I can. So when I look at the celebrities, it just annoys me. Some of them are tweeting it's like prison, or when is this going to be over? I have lost a lot of respect for these celebrities. And not saying that all of them are like this. I'm saying there's a good handful of them. Their true colors are starting to show out. They're not this fabulous personality. They're very selfish. So to me, they're actors putting on a selfish act. Uh, the ones that aren't speaking are probably the ones that want to keep their privacy and get on with their lives. So I have a little story. I want to talk about a gentleman that is a celebrity, or basically he is a football star. This person in February was participating in the Super Bowl playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. He eventually won and is a Super Bowl champion. So this gentleman here signed with the Kansas City Chiefs for a 5-year, $42 million contract. So he's a lineman, offensive lineman. He's Canadian, which makes me very happy because I deem him as a hero. Because I think that's a hero to me. And I don't think he gets enough publicity for this. Maybe he doesn't want it. Maybe he just wants to be a normal person and get through and try to be a human being and help people through a crisis. So this gentleman here, basically since March, he his name is Dr. Darnavy Tardif. He completed a rare feat a couple of years ago, graduating from McGill University Medical School while still playing football, which is quite amazing in itself. So his name is Larnett Darnavy Tardif. I probably butchered his name, but anyway, back to my story. He's a Montreal native in his hometown. So amongst this, he's in the middle of a contract. Like I said, he's 5-year, $42.363 million to play professional football. So this gentleman is 29 years old, has a doctorate in medicine, but he's not licensed to practice yet. So due to Quebec, and this is Quebec region, which is highly hit, this gentleman here decided that he wanted to help out on the front line. So this gentleman, not having a license, Quebec gave him special permission to work as a nurse to help replace the other people that are working nonstop, which I think is absolutely awesome. So basically, workers have been sick, and to help the increasing demand because of the number of cases, because of all the measures taken to protect the workers and the patients, to slow down the operation. So Darnavy Tardif said in his first day was April 24th was his first hospital day, where he was assigned to a long-term care facility about an hour away from Montreal south. So this big dude, 6'5", 321 pounds, is working as a nurse role, trying to help relieve workers that are already in place. Quebec was one of the hardest provinces hit in Canada with the pandemic. Long care homes have been practically devastated. And I also forgot about our armed forces that are also in the midst of helping out a lot of these long-term healthcare facilities with seniors or special needs or whatever. The military is there, and that's another profession I forgot that are putting themselves at risk. I know they're ordered, but it's nice to notice the Canadian military and what they're doing. Absolutely awesome. So basically, he's going in there. He's administering medication. He's helping out with the nurse's role. To me, undoubtedly, this is a hero in my eyes. First of all, he can sit home in his mansion and his $42 million, whatever he has for an income. Very rich. But taking the front lines, putting himself at risk to just help out people. Help out the frontline workers. Help out basically everybody in the profession. Showing a role model I think the kids need to see. I think there should be more of this. More positive news about what this one person's doing. I haven't seen it, or I haven't watched a lot of news, but I just come across the article on it. So in reading this article, it made me very proud made me proud to see that he was a Canadian. It just blew me away with how much compassion this one person has for his fellow, community purpose and everything that he's doing for everyone else and putting himself at risk when he could be staying home. This is what super celebrities should be doing. I've seen premiers in different provinces help out. I've seen them in the front line doing different stuff. I know in my province here, we had a fantastic run. We did very well. Right now, we have at least 12 cases at the moment. We had a doctor that basically screwed up and lied to the border patrol and lied and said, I was there for work, or I'm not sure in the whole story, and I don't want to talk about it, but I know one thing is he lied and he didn't protect the people that he was with. He came in contact with about 150 different people, and everybody's getting tested. So, I really am upset. I'm sure the person didn't do it intentional. Nobody goes intentionally trying to do this, but he really set back my province, and there's a lot of anger within my province. Small businesses that can't open because of the cause of this doctor going through and infecting people, and it really has demonstrated a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. But there's also some businesses that are taking it, okay, let's prepare ourselves, let's be safe, I'm okay with this. It would have been a real travesty if they had opened up, been there a week, and then close them down. That would have been more hurtful to the businesses. I think waiting is the key right now. I think, my province right now, province of New Brunswick, is doing a very good job. Our chief medical doctor is doing a fantastic job in basically spearheading everything and making sure that everything's going according to plan, setting parameters, guidelines. She is setting guidelines, making sure that New Brunswick is safe. Shout out to Dr. Jennifer Russell, our Chief Medical Officer of Health in New Brunswick. She's been doing a fantastic job. People have been recognizing her. She's been doing a really, really good job. And what's really impressive is how the government, Blaine Higgs government, conservative government, has taken a back seat and has taken her guidance and checked their egos at the door to make sure that this province is safe and making sure that the province is taken care of. I know there's a lot of people that are angry that things aren't open. Eventually we're going to have to get through the virus. We're going to have to learn how to get ourselves daily, just get used to it. So at the end of the day, we're going to have to take parameters and precautions in our life now. Will we ever get back to normal? I'm not really sure. But I know one thing is to make sure that we're safe and washing our hands and just taking the practice. I don't know if this is going to be one of the things and another thing comes on, or, there's a lot of conspiracy theories around that it was man-made in China or the government knew. Like, what really upsets me is a lot of the world leaders knew this was coming in January and didn't block any travel and just let everything go and didn't want to. They thought it was just something. They didn't think it was going to be as serious. I think going back, I would like to think a lot of the world leaders, as my leader here, would have done things differently. So I'm kind of hoping that the human parameter of things, because there was a lot of senseless death, people bringing COVID. I've heard of stories where people were infected, they're carriers, and they subdued because they were a cancer patient. They had to go into their trailer and isolate, and the whole family was sick. And it come to find out the person that had the cancer that couldn't be infected didn't want this COVID on them because it could really devastate their health and put their life in jeopardy. They were the ones carrying it. So we have a lot of carriers, so we don't even know who's carrying it, and that's the scary thing about it. But we can't stop our life, and we can't go on and isolate all the time, because what are we going to do, live ourselves in a bubble? Like that movie that the guy was running around in a bubble, and I'm not sure what movie that was. I mean, we looked at it then and said that was asinine, that was funny. But today's world, it makes sense to run around in bubbles, but we have to do a lot of different things. But we have to have, I mean, we're washing our hands so much that it could be harmful. Like, we can't get used to bacteria, we might get sick more. So it's a double-edged sword, right? They're telling us to do this and this and this. But we have to get used to bacteria, and we have to get used to different things. So, what do? Do you do it? You don't do it? It just makes it very upsetting to know what's real and what's not. There's a lot of information out there that is so false. And that's why we have to take the time. Don't read Facebook and think that everything on Facebook is real, because high percentage of it is not. And they're starting to monitor it a little more because of the pandemic crisis. So, we have to really be very careful when we're reading information, and be careful and take the precautions as, we look at this. So right now in New Brunswick, we've had 28,662. This is updated through January 1st, 2020 at 1 p.m. We have a total of 131 cases, 12 active cases, 120 recovered, 4 in hospital, 1 in the ICU. We had 0 deaths, which I'm pretty happy about. I know my government here in the province of New Brunswick in Canada have really taken a proactive role, which has been fantastic. I know it's been slower to open up things than people really wanted to. So, at the end of the day, do you want to be safe? Do you want a strong economy? I think he's doing a really good job, Mr. Higgs, with great guidance from Jennifer Russell, Dr. Jennifer Russell. I think it's fantastic what is going on. And all our political parties are working together in a committee to make certain decisions, to make sure, certain phases, like we have different phases in the province, and if we have a setback, we go back. But at some point, Mr. Higgs, we're going to have to open up the province, and we're going to have to get through this. I know we want to keep everyone as safe as possible, but at the end of the day, we're going to have to keep the province open. We're going to have to learn how to deal with this and go through this. And it's going to be a strain on everyone. Mental health challenges has been astronomical through this. There's a lot of people that have been paranoid, a lot of people that have been has heightened their mental health challenges, and I hear you. I'm going through it, and I've taken it upon myself to work the borders and to screen people that come into my province, and with guidelines and compassion, and try to welcome them, try to keep them at ease when I'm talking to them, and try to understand why they need to go and essential. And there's a lot of people, we turn at least anywhere from 20 to 30 or more back around. It's just to keep our province safe, and they have to have documentation, they have to have the precautionary measures and different things. And there's a lot of people that are moving back to different provinces that go through our province, so we have to inform them what we expect when they're going through, like use pay at the pump, try to keep social distancing. If you have to use the bathroom, if you have to get something to eat, please use the drive-through, and that sort of things. So that's what I'm doing at the border. I've been doing it. This will be my 3rd week coming up. I'm very, when I talk about we're in it all together, I can sit in my facility and work, but here I am putting myself in the front line, maybe at risk, I'm not sure, but I'm taking precautions. I'm wearing a mask, I'm wearing, always hand sanitizing after I talk to every person, taking the precautions. But I wanted to be a part of the solution. I wanted to be help in any way I can. It's long days, it's 12-hour days, and it's nonstop getting paperwork and writing down. Your hands are sore, your feet are very sore. Don't get a lot of breaks because of just things need to go on. So I've done this. I'm not saying I'm a hero. I'm just saying I'm doing my part. Very proud of the work that New Brunswick is doing and ensuring basically the border to be secure as guidelines have been set out, and hoping that we screen it well enough that we don't get a case. So I think our border workers, I'd like to shout out to the conservation officers, commercial vehicle enforcement officers. We also have off-road vehicles and officers. I don't know if I'm missing anybody else. Those are the ones that I've seen. The sheriffs, correctional officers. I want to shout out to them. I know when the state of emergency come in, a lot of these different departments had to come together and put this together. I just want to completely shout out to you and give you the recognition that you deserve. Dedication. I've seen people work numerous hours. They're frustrated as well, folks. But I want to shout out to them because they're doing a phenomenal job. I don't think they get enough recognition. They always get the backlash and the negativity. But I'd like to say that their dedication, their professionalism, and how they've taught me how to do my job to the best of my ability. Supervisors have been great. I've met other people from other departments that I would have never met. It's the only positive thing coming out of this. And being a part of something positive and trying to build it as a team and as New Brunswickers trying to keep each other safe. I want to shout out to them because I don't think they get enough recognition. They're always taking the slack. Seeing some Facebook comments that I'm not really happy about, saying that they're doing a terrible job. Let me tell you, I think they're doing a fantastic job. They're trying to be sure there's compassion, guidelines, some strictness to a certain fashion. No one's going to roll into the province of New Brunswick just for a drive. There has to be a specific reason, and they are being compassionate with everything's different. And I just want to take a shout out to them because I think it's important that we recognize these individuals, women, men, that put their lives on the line since the pandemic in March. They've been doing this. I've only rolled into this in about May. So they've been doing this a lot longer in worse weather, trying to manage this. So I just want to shout out and thank you very much for doing what you're doing. I think it's important that we make sure that we do this and give our thanks to people, police officers and different things, and so many things have happened during this pandemic. So I just want to make sure that at the end of the day we're all being positive and seeing people doing work. I'm always thanking the grocery shop workers or the cashiers at the gas places that I get gas. I always say thank you. It makes their day when you recognize them. Normally, we just go about our business and do our business and don't worry about who's getting thanks. But I really thanking people. I think with this pandemic, I'm thanking more people and taking more of a look of how appreciative I am of our society and how appreciative I am of certain people doing jobs. I know we need jobs to survive, to make money, but their job's not easy. Not making a lot of money doing what they're doing, but they're the ones putting their life on the line. And that's the problem I have with these celebrities saying we're all in it together. We're not. People are struggling with money. They're struggling with so much in the world. And I know some celebrities have done some good stuff, and I'm sure they've done stuff where they don't want the attention, and I get that. So I'm not painting them all in the same brush. I'm saying that probably half of them, or maybe even 3/4, are spoiled little brats that had everything catered to them since they become a celebrity and have forgotten what it's like to be a normal person, normal job, and normal things. And they've got somewheres and had to be somewheres. Some were a silver spoon, but some of them have forgotten their ways to where they've got to the freedom and they've got their lot of money, and now they think they're invincible. And this COVID is not discriminatory. Doesn't matter if you're rich, doesn't matter if you're poor, doesn't matter anything. It's non-discriminatory. So we have to think about that. And I'd like to thank everyone that's helping out in the world in any little thing. But make sure you're positive and say positive things to people, because it makes them feel good about what they're doing. There's a sense of purpose. So that's all I wanted to say in this podcast. I didn't want to go on and on and on and just speak a lot of nonsense. I wanted to make my points clear. I wanted to thank people that are doing a great job. I want to recognize that football player from the Kansas City Chiefs. Large and Darnavy Tardif, I'm sure I butchered your name. But my friend, you're doing a great job. Just want to shout out that you're from Quebec, Canada. Very proud that you're in our country doing this when you don't have to. In my eyes, that's a hero. So I want to apologize for not doing a lot of podcasts here recently. I've had a lot of things thrown on my plate. I mean, I've worked in the border. I'm in the process of possibly moving to another place. Getting a job transfer. I'm very excited. I just wanted to say that I didn't forget anybody. I haven't forgot my listeners or people that need this. But I just wanted a podcast to point out some points. And I just want everyone to be safe, be cautious. This isn't over. But don't live your life in fear. And the only one that can make you feel inferior is yourself. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. Listen to music, go for walks, get some fresh air. Make sure you take care of yourself. I'm Alan Hilchey, and I thank you very much for listening. And I'll talk to you really, really soon. Thank you.